Regarding critical minerals vital to China's exports, Reuters has recently reported on several separate yet interconnected developments. Together, they paint a reality that may cause limited harm to relevant U.S. industries but could be fatal to the military-industrial complex and even U.S. hegemony. Reuters stated that over the past 3 months, China's exports of antimony and germanium, two critical minerals used in weapons, communications, and solar cells, have plummeted, linked to China's crackdown on smuggling and transshipment. The media noted that such actions even involve the intervention of China's top intelligence agencies. According to customs data released by China on July 20, exports of antimony and germanium in June dropped by 88% and 95% respectively compared to January. Similar to the more high-profile rare earths, China is the world's largest miner and refiner of these two elements. Antimony and germanium were added to China's export control list in 2023 and 2024, respectively. Last December, as a countermeasure against U.S. chip restrictions, China also banned the export of these two minerals to the United States. Additionally, in response to U.S. tariff hikes, Beijing added a variety of rare earth elements and related magnets to its export control list. This led to a sharp drop in export volumes, forcing some automakers in Europe, the United States, Japan, and India to suspend parts of their production lines and triggering a global crisis. Last month, China and the United States reached a relevant agreement, leading to a strong rebound in rare earth exports. However, exports of antimony and germanium have fallen to historical lows. Since China imposed export restrictions, the spot market price of high-purity germanium has more than doubled, while the price of antimony has nearly quadrupled since last May. Cooperative organizations pointed out that China quietly released the first batch of rare earth mining and smelting quotas for 2025 last week without issuing a public statement as usual. This once again indicates that Beijing is steadily strengthening its control over this critical industry. These quotas are generally regarded as an important indicator of global rare earth supply. Rare earths are widely used in high-tech products such as electric vehicles, wind turbines, robots, and missiles, and play an irreplaceable core role in many products. Nevertheless, external concerns about the impact of rare earth supply on civilian industries have been alleviated. According to a report by U.S. CNBC, China's exports of rare earth magnets to the United States surged sevenfold month-on-month in June. After China and the United States reached a preliminary trade agreement, U.S. companies are rushing to obtain these critical materials. Data from China's General Administration of Customs shows that the United States received approximately 353 tons of rare earth permanent magnets in June, a month-on-month increase of 660%. However, this figure is still only about half of the export volume in the same period last year. The United States is the second largest export destination for China's rare earth permanent magnets, second only to Germany. America's massive manufacturing sector, especially the automotive, electronics, and renewable energy industries, is heavily reliant on imports of these magnets. The backdrop for this export growth is the trade framework agreement reached between Washington and Beijing last month, which includes easing restrictions on China's rare earth exports and lifting some restrictions on U.S. technology products exported to China. AI giant Nvidia stated last week that it plans to resume exports of its H20 AI chips to China, following a restriction on such exports imposed in April. CNBC noted that the U.S. government also relaxed restrictions on domestic AI chip companies' operations in China last month. The U.S. has explicitly acknowledged that these moves are intended as bargaining chips to secure China's relaxation of rare earth exports. From the current perspective, China's control measures and use of bargaining chips have been highly precise. If the U.S. eases or lifts restrictions on China, China will also reduce restrictions on rare earth exports, with the prerequisite that such exports must be used for civilian purposes, with traceable destinations. Meanwhile, controls on other critical minerals beyond rare earths, such as antimony and germanium, will be tightened. Although these two minerals have important applications in civilian fields, their irreplaceability and strategic significance in military applications are even stronger. Strictly regulating them can better constrain U.S. weapons and ammunition production capacity, thereby safeguarding world peace, without being accused of disrupting civilian supply chains. Naturally, the shift from no export controls to regulated exports has undoubtedly impacted global industrial chains. However, whether it is a trade war or a tariff war, in my view, China is not the initiator. The control measures on minerals are also a forced response. The root cause of the current situation lies with the U.S. Developments over the past few months have proven that the U.S. actually has no effective chips to exchange for China's relaxation of exports of such materials, yet it refuses to let go of its global hegemon posture. For automakers and robotics companies, the situation is relatively manageable. However, under such circumstances, U.S. military-industrial giants may have no choice but to seek alternative supply sources or even try to build their own production systems from scratch. Therefore, in terms of weakening the U.S. military-industrial complex and reducing America's ability to provoke conflicts worldwide, China is making greater contributions to world peace in an ingenious way.